And speaking of what's going on in Tampa Bay real estate, we're going to start off with our first segment today and talk about the local real estate statistics for Tampa and what we're seeing in the marketplace and what that means to you. So, you know, the March stats came out just a few days ago, and you know, some really telling stats that tell us our real estate market is still doing extremely well.
Definitely.
So 3,298 sales in March. Now, interestingly, it's slightly less than last March, but I'm going to explain why here in a minute. You know, last March was 3,314, but you know, when you compare it to 2,087 in January and 2,520 in February, and then we're up to 3,298 March, pretty big jump, month over month. Which, if you look historically, that, you know, 500 or 600 home sale increase from January to February and from February to March is actually pretty consistent. So what we've seen so far in the first quarter of this year is consistent with what we've seen in prior years, you know, when you look at the entire market. Now, here's what is the challenging thing for our market. 2.3 months of inventory.
Wow.
In March. 2.3. That is on par with San Jose, California, the San Francisco Bay Area, portions of Los Angeles. 2.3 months of inventory is a drastic seller market. So could that 3,298 number of homes sold been higher? Absolutely. But it isn't, because there aren't enough homes to sell.
We need more inventory.
We need more inventory. So looking at the average sale price in Tampa is now up to a whopping $266,285. That is the highest number in well over a decade. It's the highest number, you know, that we've seen in a long time. And so if you look at February, we were at 256, and January we're at 255. So again, seeing that
still growing
appreciation, that price growth. 61 days on market before a home goes under contract is the norm right now. You know, it's more than my norm, but that is the norm for the marketplace. Ours are selling more quickly than that. So, but inventory is the major obstacle. Now, you know, we get these questions a lot, and I like to kind of reference it to give people a little bit of an understanding. You know, so we're at 2.3 months of inventory. Now, what does that mean to you? That basically means that if no more homes got put on the market, it would only take 2.3 months to sell all the inventory we had. It's a saturation rate, basically. And 6 months or less is considered a seller's market. So 2 months is a drastic seller's market. And Mike, I'm sure you're seeing this a lot. Lots of buyers missing out on homes, bidding wars, you know, all the time.
It seems like almost anything under 400,000 is going multiple offer. You know, so it's crazy. You know, and we've been experiencing this for months. And I have a client that put an offer on a house last night that ended up having to pay cash to get the house because there were so many offers on it, and it was listed at 470. So that price range too doesn't seem to be making a huge difference either.
So here's to break down the inventory or supply by price. I think this is important too. This kind of tells you that we're not just experiencing a seller's market in entry level and low priced homes. You know, $1 million and above, we're at 13 months of inventory. Okay, that's a buyer's market, pretty normal. If you go across the country, you know, you're going to see that being kind of a norm. 8.5 months at 900 to 999, 8.6 at 800, 8.7. Then it gets to 5.6 at 500 to 600,000.
Wow.
So it's still a seller's market. 600,000 is a luxury price point here.
Absolutely.
I mean, our average price point is 265. You're talking more than double our average sale price,
right.
And you're at 5.6 months. 4.1 months of inventory from 400 to 500. Then you go from 300 to 400, and you're at 4.5. To 300 to 350, you're at 3.3, and then from there it drops into the 3s and the 2s, everything below 350. So basically, in just about, you know, every listener out here, besides maybe, I mean, if you look at the number of home sales that are above 600, you're talking maybe, you know, 10%, you know, 10% of the home sales at most, you know, are in that price range. So just about everybody else is in a seller's market. But you get above 600 and it does turn to a buyer's market. But it isn't some drastic buyer's market. Don't think that you can come in and lowball. And, you know, when I say a buyer's market, a couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago, when we were in the bust, we had 20 plus months of inventory in a lot of price ranges. I
Right.
mean, it was, you know, you saw 30 plus months of inventory in some of the $1 million plus stuff. So
And you could get a deal back then.
correct. The deals, even in the luxury market now, are few and far between. Homes are going to sell. You know, 8 months of inventory doesn't mean that you know, there's a bunch of homes not selling. It means that just about everything still is selling. It's just taking a little while longer. So the real estate market's still very healthy. You know, 600,000 and below is the seller's market. Above that, you get into a buyer's market, and you know the prices still continue to rise. You know, and I think they're going to. And I think rates are going to rise. And so far, I think we've seen it knock people off the fence.
I do.
At some point, we're going to breach that, where I think it's going to cause less people falling off the fence and more people pulling out because it gets unaffordable.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's just the market we're in right now where the rates, you know, continue to rise. It hasn't been any of your drastic jumps, but it's been fairly steady since the first of the year. So
Yeah.
it's definitely, you know, it's forcing some to not, or like you said, to jump off the fence, but I think some others are probably still holding out or have already backed out.
And when you look across the country, you know, inventory is down across the country. It's not just a Tampa Bay thing. Tampa Bay, you know, fortunately has a lot of economic things driving population growth and people moving here, and but you still have a challenge with new construction not being able to keep up, and enough homeowners out there that are worried that they're not going to be able to buy a home, so they don't want to sell. So they just hold back. And then you have, on top of that, you're starting to see more consumers think, man, I got such a low interest rate on this house, and interest rates are up and prices are up, I'm just going to stay put because
Right.
I don't want to have to pay more, and I'm fearful of not actually being able to find a possible replacement home.
Yeah, I think, and I hear, you know, you guys at your office talk about it a lot, the concern with the sellers, which is gonna help keep inventory low, are scared to death to list their house because they're fearful they might not be able to find anything fast enough. You know, their house is likely gonna sell right away, and with such low inventory, they're struggling to find something to move into.
Yeah.